to the Nerdiverse. Go ahead, sit and listen to the masters, the old heads, talk about what you love the most. Video games, comics, movies, and everything you need to maintain your week. Got the knowledge that's straight out the ether. Gonna need a drink and have to take a seat to expand your mind and listen to the speaker. Mike and the squad's gonna give you what you need. Please send in a question, come and get some answers, learn a couple lessons from the masters with the special guests. We got the Green Lanterns glowing on their chest. Yes, please sit back and relax, cause we're gonna hit you with them stone cold facts. And allow me to be the very first to welcome you to the masters of the Nerdiverse. Welcome to Masters of the Nerdiverse, where we always have such sights to show you. This insane asylum of a podcast can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Google Play, and of course, Spotify. I'm of course your host, Mike G, and with me as always is my cool, captivating co-host, my other host, Sans host. I don't know what the best designation for that is. My also host. I like that. Winter Trash Monk the Thizzer.
Hey everybody, this is Winter. That is online handle Trash Monk the Third. That's Trash Monk I. That's Trash Monk I.
Yeah.
And I'm coming at you in my room, recording with the notes ready to go, ready for this great recording.
This is the greatest of all recordings. But you know what? It's not. It's just a tribute. No. The first recording was the greatest recording in the world. But unfortunately, this is just a tribute.
Okay. We don't need to get Tenacious D involved into this, all right? I was a fan for a while, but then, I was no longer 16.
So when did you drop off? I dropped off at Pick a Destiny. That's when I dropped off.
Oh, I was into the before Pick a Destiny. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm just saying like that's where I dropped off. I was into them before then as well.
Oh, you're a hipster Tenacious D fan.
No, I just know all the lyrics to Lee. I'm just saying. I just know all the lyrics to Lee.
You're the first person that I've heard that said that I stopped listening to them around Pick a Destiny.
I'm just saying, like I tried Rise of the Phoenix, I wasn't feeling it, man. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I used to love that band. And I they inspired me to write comic songs in high school. That some of them would be considered racist now. And I want people to burn their copies of it if I ever want to. And let's just say, if I ever became a person of power, there's people who would bring these CDs out going, why did you write this song about a Muslim girl?
Wow.
Because I loved her. It's a love song. It's a love song, man. Folks.
What does Seinfeld say? It's not racist if you love their race.
Yeah. But it is actually a very shameful part of my past that this is something that's recorded. But we've all been there, have their backs. Yeah.
Yeah, man. You can't have a testimony without the test, my good man. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So don't worry about it. Tenacious D was a part of my life where it was like hybrid theory, the Seether. There's a lot of music. I just had a weird phase where that's all I would listen to. I like me some Seether, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Some Three Doors Down, my dude.
I'd rather listen to Caesar. It's all right.
Whatever. And then I got into Arch Enemy, and I was just metal for like the next 5 years after that. But I digress.
Isn't there a band that came out like Dead Man Theory around that time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Dead Man Theory is not that bad, actually. I got onto them like this last Halloween, actually. I was looking for some good spooky music, and I was listening to a lot of Dead Man Theory.
Yeah. I've been doing this. There's a band that I've been listening to. Well, I bought their inaugural album. The band's called Greta Van Fleet, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it. And they sound like a particular classic rock band that if you listen to any of their songs, you know right away what I'm talking about. And it's like, it's so bad to the point that I turned on the radio this week. It's been a while since I've ever listened to a Greta Van Fleet song, and it's a rock station. And and a song comes on, and I'm like, oh, this must be Led Zeppelin. And then they go, that's Greta Van Fleet's latest single. You're the one that I want.
Wow. Yeah. I had the same effect with like Wolf Mother. It's like, you sound a lot like
how dare you? How dare you?
Music I really like.
Wolf Mother is an institution.
I love me some Wolf Mother, but you can't deny they wear their influences on their sleeve, my dude.
Yeah, well, that's part of the stoner rock universe.
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah. Stoner rock, psychedelic rock, they all have to pay homage to the bands before them.
Hey, man.
And then as soon as they're done with that, that's the whole album.
Right. And then we truly are the Joker and the thief. Hi-yo.
What?
Nothing.
Okay.
Let's retract that whole last second, the whole last pinpoint. So other than listen to Greta Van Fleet, what did you do this week, man?
I finished Act 1, Scene 1 of a play that I'm writing. It's already off the rails, so, I finished it, and now I'm going to take a break from that. Going to write another script for the project that we are working on.
Good.
In the interim, and also edit this. What?
Nothing. I went into hyperspace with the goods.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I don't know what he's taking over there, ladies and gentlemen.
I'll tell you.
No, I didn't ask. Anyways. Yeah, and I'm also working on edits for an audio drama script that I just got some pointers back from the person who wants to produce it. So
sweet.
Yeah. And there's again, the reason why, so I started off wanting to be like a writer of short stories and stuff like that, but then I slowly realized that I can never get my grammar and spelling up to that level needed to send that out. So I deleted all traces of that on the internet, and now I'm like script writing, because at least I need someone else to interpret the script before they send it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so, you can always use Grammarly.com. Sponsor us at Grammarly.com.
I refuse to use Grammarly.com.
Grammarly.com. Use it. It's just a real big bouncer standing behind you, and you're like typing away, sweating. He's just like, use it.
Yeah, I'm not going to banter with you. So how's your
no banter? Yeah, there's no talking to Mr. Grammarly.
So how's your week?
Yeah. Sorry. Right. My week's been all right. I just did a lot of consuming of the media. There's like 3 major things I want to talk about very quickly. I watched 2 and listened to 1, which is interesting. I watched Punisher season 2, the Netflix series, all the way from the first to the last episode, as Cadillac Slim in the Goody Mob would say, from the rooter to the tutor. You know what I'm saying? All the way. I did like a real quick haiku review on Twitter. That's at mnerdiverse. I kind of gave my thoughts on it. And just to keep it quick, it was all right. Very hit or miss. It kind of felt like a Punisher Gaiden, if that makes any sense. Like, it didn't feel like it was part of any major storyline, or like a side story, like an episode. It felt the whole thing, all like 12, 13 episodes felt like one episode. It could have just been one episode. There were, the stakes were weird. The ending was a bit anticlimactic. No spoilers. I just wasn't really invested in it, but I kind of wanted to finish it because I started it, And one thing I hate about the Netflix shows in general is that for Marvel stuff, you have decades of characters to interpret, to build on, you know what I mean? And that's what us geeks love. We love to name drop, we love to kind of notice things. Hey, I noticed that. And these shows are so insistent to create new characters to drive their narrative. And I get it. You know what I mean? But that one character could have been a character from the comics that may be a Z tier or A1 tier character that, only the Punisher Warzone or Punisher War Journal fans would have gotten, but it would have been something cool, the whole season seemed like a wasted opportunity. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a shame that they haven't yet found the sauce to make like a long-lasting Punisher series, I would say.
You're right.
Well, it's like all the elements are there, but then again, not.
And it's funny, yeah.
And then you have to ask yourself, well, what similarities does the Punisher have with other superhero characters? And I think I would have to go. You would have to, go outside of Marvel for this. What's a superhero character that has no superpowers but uses technology and stuff to get what he wants done?
Right.
And of course, I'm talking about the Winged Man, the Bat.
Wow, you sound like a villain right there.
Yeah,
you sound
the
like
Batman,
the Riddler. Dog.
So what are some comparisons that we can make to Batman and Punisher? Again, neither of them have superhero powers, but they use technology and their expertise, I would say, to get to their villain, get to the end goal. The thing with, but I think what the Punisher doesn't have that the Batman does have is like the Batman has and I'm going like he has the dark side of him, like this he can get dark. The Dark Knight can get dark.
Yeah.
And he also has a bunch of money and stuff like that. Punisher, he can get dark. I don't necessarily know. They have to find ways to explain how he gets gadgets every time or new guns.
Yeah.
Like I believe I can go to like one is like he stole money from the mob.
Yeah. That's one.
Yeah. And then the second Warzone, I don't even know how they explain that.
Right. Warzone, we don't talk about Punisher Warzone, man, but
but I hope the point's coming across that it's like there's like some things that like Batman can work on the big screen or like on televised sort of things, but it seems like the Punisher can't quite make it there yet.
I think,
or they haven't had the right director.
And you said a lot of right. You said a lot of right and a lot to unpack. In the Batman Punisher, I'll start with the Batman Punisher comparison, where they're both men of conviction. I would say they're very dedicated to their causes.
They're both considered criminals.
They're both considered criminals. Both considered vigilantes. One more to a more crazier degree than other, because one has a code and they both have codes, but the codes are drastically different from each other. I think that Bruce is just as troubled and turmoiled as I would say Frank. I think they're equal in that case. The difference is that what Bruce did with his anger and his frustration versus what Frank did. You know what I mean?
Right.
Frank used his military training. He used his efficiency with weapons, his tactical know-how to literally create a war on all crime, a bloody war. You know what I mean? And and one thing about Frank that I think has a hard time translating is that Frank is like an onion with multiple layers, but it takes a really long time to peel them all back. And Frank doesn't have a villains gallery because no one lives.
Exactly.
Batman can run circles with the Joker until infinity because Batman just won't kill him.
Right. And you can't really add like mystical or fantastical elements to the Punisher too much because
it wrecks the character.
It's like, how is he going to go against a Mysterio type character?
Yeah.
or
how does the Punisher fight like Dr. Octopus and just not kill him? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, just load a RPG and blow his face
yeah,
off.
and that's another weird thing about the Punisher is that unlike Batman, who fits just well with his Justice League, with DC Comics, you know what I mean? The Punisher doesn't fit in Marvel Comics. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
you have your Spider-Mans, your Captain Americas, your Iron Mans, your Thors, who are all these fantastical, pseudo-grounded heroes. But then you have Frank, who's just a man on a mission, who is not messing around, who just sticks out like a sore thumb, and everyone hates him. There was one moment, and I'm going to get off this just because I want to use a good segue you gave me. There's a moment in the comic book version of Civil War where the Punisher kind of is helping out Spider-Man because Spider-Man is fighting off, I think, Jack-O-Lantern and another Z-tier hero. And Spider-Man's trying not to kill them, but these guys are working Spider-Man over. And the Punisher just kills them, like just he punishes them. And he takes Spider-Man back to like their little base, and Captain America finds out. I was like, so what happened to the villains? He was like, well, they're still in the sewers. So I left them where I left them. And Cap just proceeds to beat the crap out of the Punisher. They're like, what is you see this? He's like, this is why we don't invite you to anything, Frank, because you always step over the line. He's like, aren't you going to fight me back? He's like, I would never fight you, Captain America. I love you so much. It's like this weird wrinkle to the Punisher. Like, he just doesn't fit anywhere, especially in the Marvel universe, because the moment you put him with these fantastical heroes, he becomes a villain in a weird way. You know, that's one thing I like about Frank. But something I listened to that has really crazy parallels to characters that really don't fit with the Marvel universe or with comics. I listened to the Stitcher podcast, the audio podcast for Wolverine. I think it's called The Long Home. Have you listened or heard of that, Winter?
Yes, it's excellent.
It's excellent.
I enjoy it.
Let's talk about that for a second before we go into the news, because I don't want this to go too long. But I listened to the whole thing over last week, and my only gripe with it is that it's a bit of a slow burn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to be invested to pay attention. And like the Punisher, a lot of the characters are not Marvel staples. You know, no spoilers, but Wolverine's not going to be fighting Magneto in this thing. It's a very personal story. You know what I mean?
Right. So this is the idea that I've been saying for that Marvel should do a Punisher audio drama.
Mm-hmm.
I've been saying it for like since season 2 came out for Punisher, with the reviews coming in, that I think it would do very well in the audio drama world.
Just like Wolverine did. And like in the audio podcast itself is very well done. Richard Armitage plays Wolverine, voice acted, pinpoint voice acting. And it's all it's creative writing at its best, pretty much, because every single word is painting a picture for your mind to kind of see. They make noises. They try to simulate smells. It's really kind of fun how they play with that and how they depict a character like Wolverine who doesn't necessarily fit on the X-Men, if you really think about it. The Wolverine, early Wolverine, before he kind of tamed himself down, was just a killing machine. He was a Weapon X killing machine.
Right.
Kind of like Frank Castle, you know. These claws aren't for show. You know what I mean? Like, he's cutting through people, and that doesn't fit with the Jubilee, you know what I mean? And Cyclops and, you know, the rest of the X-Men fanfare. But what does this audio drama do that this season of Daredevil doesn't is that they kind of focus on one story. They focus on kind of one plot line, or one major plot line, and then there's a secondary plot line with some kind of cult. You listen to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, the side story of the cult and the agents, and it's all kind of fun. It's all its own story, and Wolverine's kind of like on the periphery of it. It's not really about him. It's about, you know, the town he's in.
It would be tough to have if Wolverine was going to be front and center for the
whole thing
to keep the show going.
Yeah.
Because again, like his his superpower, I mean, his mutant abilities, you can somewhat fit it into the soundscape because you can get the sound of his
the
claws
snicks
coming
and
out.
the gruff of his voice and his low hum of a growl. It's all there.
Yeah.
And I would recommend anyone to listen to it. It's really good stuff. It's something different. It's a different way of reading a comic book. You know what I mean? And I'm curious to see if they do a season 2 of it, or like you said, do another hero, do Punisher, do Iron Fist. There's a lot of characters that can benefit.
Well, let's not get carried away there. Let's not get carried away. Iron Fist has had its day.
Guys, check out the graphic novel written by it was the artist by David Aja, and it was written by Brew Baker. It's the Immortal Iron Fist run. It's amazing. So one of the reasons I like the character way before they ruined him on Netflix. Speaking of things that might get ruined, you want to go into? There's one more thing I did want to talk about really quick before we go into the news. Is that I watched the documentary about the Fire Festival. Do you know anything about that?
Oh, yeah, Internet Historian YouTube.
Oh no, it was a Netflix series, a Netflix documentary about the fire.
What was I thinking of?
I don't know. This is about the Fire Festival with Ja Rule, and kind of that happened like a couple of years ago or a year ago. It went super nuts. It was like, oh man, I could talk about that on another show.
They have that on Netflix.
Yeah, check it out. It's called Fire. It's a full documentary about this kind of festival that this tech company Starter was trying to get off the ground, and how the entire thing was a manipulation from the jump. And it's just like one of the most fascinating watches I've watched in a while. Like, I would definitely recommend it.
So, yeah, I didn't know about the Netflix documentary, but there is a YouTube video by a channel called Internet Historian that also goes through it.
Oh,
so he also covers the Rainforest 2015 and Coney 2012. So yeah, check it all out.
It's fascinating stuff. Let's get into this news.
It's time for the news with your weatherman, Trash Monk. It's gonna rain.
It's gonna rain.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to work on a news jingle together. Oh man. We're gonna have to,
or just if you have a jingle for us, send it.
Yeah,
maybe
send it to mastersofnerdversecast@gmail.com or DM us.
Yeah. We could be like Comedy Bang Bang. Like, now it's time for the plugs.
And now the plugs, and we just do 2 hours of reading off donations. One day, my friend. One day. Speaking of things that may need donations, apparently Unsolved Mysteries is getting a reboot on Netflix. Did you watch Unsolved Mysteries as a kid?
No, I don't think I was alive.
You don't remember Unsolved Mysteries? It's like,
oh, you mean the Unsolved Mysteries that aired in 1987 and 1997?
Yeah,
between 1987 and 1997.
Yeah, it was always about like some guy who lived like in your backyard, who like murdered a whole town of people, and he was last seen in your location. Well, they're rebooting it, and I'm hoping it has like a making of the murderer feel, like a crime documentary, because like Unsolved Mysteries was one of the first shows to kind of do that. The whole getting in the mind of a serial killer. He was never caught, kind of keep you up at night kind of series. I mean, they're a dime a dozen now. There's whole channels.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. Yeah, I'll definitely watch it. I wonder who they're going to have host it.
Jordan Peele. He's doing everything else. It's just like, I have nothing for that. I have nothing for that. Yeah, he can recount all the fatalities, that the Sandusky Shovel Slayer did back in 1995 and was never caught. I wonder how many unsolved mysteries there have been since 1990 till now. Probably a lot. Or not as many. I don't know. With technology, you think it's...
Joel McHale. Just get Joel McHale. Well, he needs some money, people.
Give him money.
He hasn't... Yeah.
Like, do you think that, like committing a crime or even committing murder is harder or easier given today's technology?
It's probably easier to commit the crime, but also easier to get caught.
I'm thinking it's easier to get caught, right? Because, I mean, there's a camera on every corner.
Yeah.
People take phones, like internet, all types of crazy stuff, right?
Yeah, but I can't stress how easy it is now to commit a crime.
Yeah, because you just get a gun.
Okay.
It's real crazy out there. Be safe, everybody.
Like last week, I was doing this.
Dang.
Anyways.
No incriminating ourselves on our own podcast, okay, Winner?
Yes. That would finish me.
That would finish you because we didn't cause any fatalities. Unlike the Mortal Kombat 11 gameplay trailer that dropped over this last week, showing off a bunch of Mortal Kombat 11 stuff.
Yeah. I like Raiden's fatality, the one where he explodes, he like chops the pieces up and then melts them together.
Man, mine's was the Baraka fatality where he literally just rips the front of your face off with his hands. Mortal Kombat's back, everyone. And there was this real big howdy-do in Los Angeles last week, a reveal party. And they invited a bunch of quote-unquote influencers and cosplayers. It was a big fun.
Funhouse was
there. Maximilian Dude was there. A lot of cats was there. And they showed off a bunch of stuff. Characters such as Sub-Zero. I mentioned Baraka is back in the series. So is Scarlet from Mortal Kombat 9. They showed off the graphics, which look immaculate. This is like one of the best looking fighting games of all time so far. It just looks great. I'm not going to go into too much fighting game techie stuff. It just, from the looks of it and from what people are saying who got hands on of it, it just looks a bit heavy. They've removed the run, so it's going to be harder to get in on people, but there's also going to be like a footsie based system now. There's a lot of customization that they've gotten from like Injustice 2, but it's not as restrictive. So hopefully that won't be too much of an effect on the FGC, our tournament organizers, to kind of put all that together. And the game looks nice. I love Mortal Kombat, so I'm actually going to probably play some Mortal Kombat 10 later tonight. So just to get hype. So I'm really curious to see what they do with this version of the game. Yeah, man.
Get hyped.
Get hyped. And of course, you guys know I'm going to rep that Sub-Zero. Oh, yeah. So get and definitely check out YouTube. There's tons of reaction videos and walkthroughs and gameplay footage. So if you want to check it out, be our guest. And if not, you just want to wait till it drops in like April, then you can definitely just wait. And you're going to be pleasantly surprised because the game looks absolutely stunning. Speaking of stunning people, Anne Hathaway is going to be playing the Grand High Witch in Robert Zemeckis' The Witches adaptation, which I'm excited for because The Witches is one of my favorite childhood movies of all time. Did you ever watch The Witches, Winter?
Don't ask me that.
Is the answer no, my good man?
I'm pretty sure I did not. Oh,
is that in England? There's like this witch.
Is there something about rats?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I saw it.
It has Angelica Houston, and it's about this kind of like witches conference, and they turn this kid who's like snooping around into a mouse, and he has to like solve crimes as a mouse and blow up their whole kind of witches syndicate. Was the original?
And Rowan Atkinson is in it, folks.
I love me some Rowan.
I
love me some Rowan Atkinson. Did you know he's like brilliant or something weird? He's supposedly super smart or something dumb.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
So, they're remaking Witches. I'm kind of nervous because I hope they just go from they don't try to remake the movie, but try to do something different with the original Roald Dahl adaptation. The story. I love me some Academy Award winning Anne Hathaway. So kind of curious to see how they doll her up to be the Grand High Witch. I just hope it's more practical effects than CG. I hope it's not so much CG. They always ruin these films with way too much CG.
Yeah, like I picture like massive like mist CGI.
Yeah,
like abracadabra.
when God Leviosa, and then just purple smoke comes out, and it's all CG. So I hate CG so much. Pro tip: CG is a spice, not the main dish, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
Never forget that. Never forget. Something I wish I could forget is this new Ghostbusters trailer already. There's a teaser trailer for the next Ghostbusters reboot. There's a lot of stuff going on with it.
Is there a lot of stuff going on with it?
It's kind of interesting. So, Jason,
hold on.
Yeah.
You said there was a lot of stuff going on the teaser, or just
not the teaser? I mean, the whole background of this film.
Okay.
The teaser itself is nothing. It's
okay.
It's really the worst. It's a marketing ploy, but all the drama behind this movie is really interesting. Yeah. So Jason Reitman is writing this new film, which is going to be what they call, I hate these words, a soft reboot, as it were. Yeah. So apparently it's planning to take place after Ghostbusters 2, totally ignoring the remake with the full female cast. And apparently,
they should.
We'll get into that. They're going to be introducing the old cast. So apparently, Ernie Hudson's back, Dan Aykroyd, and apparently Bill Murray's back too. For this, everyone has a lot of faith in this new story. Apparently about like a Stranger Things kids kind of angle, where the Ghostbusters are going to be children, probably young adults, 2 boys, 2 girls, I'm hearing, and they're going to be the ones ghostbusting with the original Ghostbusters as their mentors. Which, we'll see. And apparently, this upset one.
Hopefully, they can do it in between shootings of Stranger Things, so that they can get some of that cast.
Those poor kids, man. They don't let them rest. Yeah. Those poor kids.
They can rest when they're old and irrelevant.
Damn.
Okay, go on.
That's kind of messed up. And this drew the fervor of one Leslie Jones, who was...
I knew it.
We got to talk about it, man. We got to talk about it, dude, because this whole thing is fascinating to me. So... with these movies, there's all with this remake, mind you, the all-female Ghostbusters remake. There's always been a lot of weird, not even weird, a lot of SJW kind of gas around it, right?
Yes.
I don't know if the film itself perpetuated this aura, this miasma of of righteousness around the film, to give it more oomph, but it's never left, right? It's like, even that's one of the things that stained this film. And one thing that Leslie Jones she went on Twitter and had a big rant about it. She was like, I'm super upset. This is BS. Of course they want to fill the movie with men now. And this is like our film never happened. And this is straight garbage, right? I would give the full tweet, but it's really not. It's not worth repeating. And I just wanted to say that and what it boils down to about this movie, the Ghostbusters remake, is that if the film was good, no one would have anything to say, right? The sequel will be lined up with the same cast, and that would be the new trilogy. Right. But at the end of the day, the film was bad. It was a bad movie. Yes. Regardless of its agenda, it was poorly written, poorly directed, and in some cases, poorly acted. It didn't make money. It was a bad movie. And if you like it, that's great. I'm not going to knock your hustle. Watch it 5 times a day. That's awesome. But the general consensus was this movie was poor. It was poor. It was just, and it was so much money went into it. Remember all the marketing that went into this movie?
Yeah, all the yeah, but that's like with the end of the day, it did not do what they were wanting. Okay, if this was a good movie, they would have continued. There's no secret cabal, as far as I can tell, over here in little mountaintop America. There is no cabal saying, let's give money to make an all-female Ghostbusters and then not support it if it's doing good. Okay.
And I just wanted this, and I did want to say, Leslie Jones has every right to be mad. She can feel however she wants to feel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like you're screaming at the moon. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah. But, I mean, it's unfortunate that that's what we have to say in front of, you can feel feelings, It's like, that's duh.
Yeah.
But
you know how it is.
That's where we're all right. Yeah, I know how it is.
That's where we are as influencers as we are.
Yeah. It's like, I'm not shocked by the comments. I was expecting at least one of them people in the chat. Yeah. Because, it is like they're ignoring the film. And you know what?
That's what they do.
There's a lot of you don't hear like Jamie Lee Curtis. Well, she got a job from the retconned Halloween movie.
And I think the perfect example is this. It's like the Predator series. There was a movie with Adrian Brody called Predators, right?
Yeah.
It was their soft reboot, which didn't make money, right? Just didn't make money. It was not financially successful. So what did they do? They acted like the movie didn't exist, and they repackaged it and recently came out with this new film, The Predator, which also didn't make money, but that's beside the point. But it's not like Adrian Brody came out and was like, oh, this is BS. They're giving up on our movie like it never happened. Like, it's Hollywood. This is with things like this, where there's these popcorn movies are the most acceptable for this kind of treatment. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's with anything. If Batman Begins didn't make money, they would have waited 3 or 4 years and put out another Batman reboot. Just how many times have they redone the Terminator? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it's crazy.
Also, I read an article just now that Ernie Hudson says that he was not approached to be in the film yet.
Really? I heard that he was. Oh man, they better reach out to him. Dang it. He's Winston. He's what is his name? Winston Zedmore? No, I'm probably mixing 2 names. Jeez, I need to watch more Ghostbusters. But with that news, I don't care. I really don't. We'll see a trailer. The movie will come out. It'll go to theaters. It'll go to Blu-ray. And then it'll be done. And then we'll move on with life. But just a lot of fascinating air around the Ghostbusters, which is sad because, in my opinion, the only good Ghostbusters.
By the way, so looking up that article, another one came up about Sylvester Stallone offers update on Edgar Allan Poe biopic script, and it's a picture of him dressed up as Edgar Allan Poe. I'm like, this world's dumb. Okay,
send me that picture. That's going to go in the podcast start. We're never going to. I don't care about anything else right now. Send me a picture of Sylvester Stallone dressed as Edgar Allan Poe, and that's going on the podcast art this week. I don't care. That just sounds stupid. That's like Arnold Schwarzenegger dressed up as like Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah.
That's dumb, dude. Speaking of disappointing dumb stuff, there was this open world Star Wars game that was being made by Electronic Arts, and that's dead. Electronic Arts shut down production of, I believe it was EA Montreal, was creating this open world Star Wars game that they've only shown clips for, but it was supposed to be the big Star Wars RPG, and now it's like everything else that comes from EA, in a coffin. And Have you heard about this, Winner?
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about it. I mean, I'm not shocked. I mean, if you look at the players in the field, you have EA Sports. I mean, not EA Sports, but just EA. And they don't have, as many of you know, they don't have a good track record.
No, they don't.
And there's nothing really that's like telling them that the world wants an open world Star Wars game.
Right.
See, if I remember correctly, the Knights of the Old Republic on the MMO that came out did not do well.
Failed.
So there is not a real want to throw money into a Star Wars game, particularly an open world. Yeah. And this is me assuming that when they say open world Star Wars game, that means that there's going to be a multiplayer aspect to it because it's EA. But
it's EA, and
yeah.
Let's look at the past a little bit.
Something like this will happen. It's just like not now,
right? And EA has already struck out twice with the games they actually were able to produce, which is Battlefield 1, which was bumpy. We're not going to talk about Battlefield 2. I still think that's still in litigation in some countries for their horrible microtransaction practices. What really made me want to talk about this is, let's say Disney finally gets wise and pulls the Star Wars license from EA. Say, bad EA, slap on the wrist. We're going to give it to someone else. Is there a gaming publisher that you would trust to revitalize the Star Wars gaming brand?
That's a good question. The thing is, I think that's a loaded question because each developer that I can think of has their own issues.
Nobody's perfect, man.
Right. So I can't. EA just happens to be the biggest one in the news right now.
Right.
And you can't go too far down the list because then you're giving Star Wars to this small company.
Right. And that Star Wars, I just sprung this question on you, but I've had time to think about it. Yeah. And I kind of want to sell you on who I would give it to.
Okay.
And when I'm thinking about it, I would prefer to give the Star Wars license to Sony Interactive.
Interesting.
Give it to Sony for a couple of reasons. One, I think Star Wars is best digested in a storytelling capacity and not like a shooter capacity. You know what I mean? Star Wars is all about its stories and its world building. And who's doing that better than Sony right now? I mean, we had Spider-Man and God of War come out.
Yeah, that's true.
And they're amazing. Also, Sony and Disney already have
Square Dog.
Square would be a good one too.
No, that's Square. I'm thinking of Naughty Dog. Sorry.
Oh, Naughty Dog. Can you imagine if Naughty Dog did a Star Wars game?
Come here, Leia.
It'll be Chewbacca and it'll be Han. It'll be The Last of Us on Hoth,
So I think that there still is a market for the shooting up style of Star Wars. So I would give the Battlefront Star Wars title to companies that know that field, which would unfortunately be Treyarch.
Activision.
I would go like the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and go like, here, let me just see what you can do with this. And then they're just gonna put a skin over a Call of Duty and put Star Wars. You're saying, oh no, now, but it would work because the field so far for Star Wars games has been so low that this would be
the bar is set so low that no matter what you do, it would be a step up because it's a game that's going to be made.
Yeah. Well, no, it's going to be a Call of Duty Star Wars skin, and I would be perfectly fine with that.
Here's what I would prefer.
Don't not send me your hate letter.
Do not send them to Winter Trash Monk the Dizzard. I would prefer to give Sony the reins of Star Wars and make Star Wars a system exclusive. Just makes Sony equal Star Wars. I mean, Sony already has a relationship with Disney with all the Spider-Man and Marvel stuff. So just port Star Wars over.
There's no way that they're going to make it an exclusive, though.
They would. They ultra would, dude.
You're talking about something that
they was. You know how many if PlayStation 5, was announced in a console selling game was like Star Wars Jedi Academy 2 or Rogue Squadron 2, and it was like in super high def. Man, people would buy it just for that. It would be their Star Wars box. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. A more than capable franchise that can splinter off in billions of gaming ideas with a competent company that is on top of the world right now. You know what I mean? On the eve of a new system launch. You know, it'll make anything you want. If you want pod racing, they can have the you want racing, you can have the Gran Turismo team work on that. You want storytelling, give it to Sony Santa Monica. You want action, give it to the guys who did the Spider-Man game. A From Software. Can you imagine a From Software like Star Wars game? What would that even be, dude? That would be nutty. You know, like Sony with that would just be unstoppable. And I kind of don't want it to go to Sony because that's kind of like a monopoly of talent and an opportunity. I would prefer it to go to Microsoft. So there's at least some balance. But I don't trust Microsoft to make games right now. You know, like, I don't trust them to make exclusives because they didn't make them for an entire, in my opinion, they didn't make console selling exclusive for an entire generation. You know what I'm saying? Reasons for people to buy Xbox One. So I wouldn't trust them with it because it'll be in the same place it is with EA. You'll be stagnant with a game or two that's not that good. And send your hate mail to me. You know?
Yeah, they already have similar IPs that would conflict with the Star Wars.
The Star Wars, output, right?
Unless they do a Star Wars Halo crossover, ladies and gentlemen.
Star Wars Gears of War. But it's
okay. We've done that. This is the news. We need to move on.
We're moving on to the last thing. I'm just saying.
You somehow got me sucked into the bleach hole.
I'm sorry. I'm good at that, man. I'm really good at the bleach hole. So really quick, I wanted to talk about two things, but I didn't want.
I don't know why that got me.
Oh man. Okay. Don't fall into the bleach hole, dog. Real quick, for some reason, Marvel let Deadpool creator Rob Liefeld create a new character. His name is Major X. It looks horrible. I'm going to try to draw it for myself.
It looks disgusting. I'm going to try
to draw it myself and make it look better for the podcast start. So if you're used to Cosmo or Luna being on the cover, this time it's going to be my version of Major X because I need to make it look good as the artist in me because it's just... Oh, I can't stand this design. He looks... I'm not going to go too into it. But yeah, there's a new character called Major X. He's an X-Man. He has the sword in the guns because that's all Rob Liefeld knows how to do. His chest has an X on it and his face has an X on it. It's oh my goodness. Why is this man still getting work and I can't get my Marvel comic cover? Am I a hack? I must be.
Yeah, that's no bueno. This is
no bueno, por favor. So yeah, I'm drawing Major X. I don't want to, but it has to be done. So expect that along with Sylvester Stallone as Edgar Allan Poe for the podcast start. And for the final thing I want to talk about really quickly is that for anyone who's who's a gamer, who likes video games, probably knows the name Machinima. It's a YouTube channel that's been around forever. That's kind of been on the forefront of Red versus Blue, which was a really big, like one of the earliest, like kind of like online internet TV shows in a way, like skits and stuff like that. They've employed content creators like the Super Best Friends. Maximilian Dude used to be, mind you, a huge channel that produced tons of content on a daily basis. Very recently, Machinima, quote unquote, fired Maximilian, who's been with him for like 10 years. His entire online, I would say, lifespan. And everyone thought that was weird. Like, why would they just drop Max? He has like 1 million followers. He's a Guinness Book of World Records fighting game, fighting game connoisseur. Why would you do that? And then shortly after, Machinima goes on YouTube and actually pulls down their entire YouTube library. Mind you, this is thousands of videos by hundreds of content creators. And that kind of spells doom for Machinima itself. And I just wanted to take a second to kind of talk about, the lifespan of these companies. It's kind of interesting. Like how YouTube has changed so much that these companies that were thriving can no longer subsist on the YouTube guidelines that have suffocated so many content creators. You know what I mean? And maybe that's not even the reason. I don't know. Business is business. Who knows, right? But
yeah. I before we would go into this a bit more, I would say first, I don't want to. Yes, it is taken off of YouTube, but I would hold my breath to see because Machinima and Rooster Teeth are now under the same company, Otter Media.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see something happening where they create their own. Well, Rooster Teeth already has their own subscription platform, their own YouTube competitor platform.
Right.
And I could see like Machinima possibly putting content from their channels into that, like classic Machinima years, that sort of thing. Because there's still a huge market of people watching old Machinima stuff,
right?
Inside gaming. I could even see Otter Media could do a push to where we have our own. YouTube has gone so off the deep end with how many regulations it has, and now we're going to start our own thing that's going to absorb first, and now you can watch all this stuff that is it's like the adult YouTube.
Yeah.
Without turning into nothing toxic or other sites like that.
Right. And it makes me think of like how many content creators are kind of abandoning ship from YouTube. Right. Like their home is now Twitch and funny enough, places like Vimeo and stuff like that. And even Mixer, just because it's so hard to make sustainable income anymore on YouTube because of their guidelines and restrictions. They're automated guidelines and restrictions that you may put 12 hours in editing into a video compilation just for it to be taken down for no reason. And that's money and demonetized. That's money out. That's time and money out of your pocket. And there's so many creators that just got so fed up with it. They're like, well, what do I do? Where do I go? And kind of like how Netflix is being whittled away from these companies going and doing their own thing, pulling ship. Because now you're no longer the only game in town. Disney's doing their own thing. Universal, everyone's doing their own thing. I'm wondering if YouTube's going to kind of start feeling that, that these
in due
time, kind of like with Epic Games Store. It's kind of like doing that with Steam. It's like these places are no longer. It's not, the market is not sustainable for one-stop shops anymore. What I mean? It's what it's looking like. And for the smaller content creators, they're going to go where the best money is. You know what I mean? For them, so they can make lives out of this stuff. And if it's no longer YouTube, then maybe a lot of content creators will go to the Rooster Teeth Otter Machinima channel if that's the better option for them. to make adult content and to not be so restricted by Google/YouTube, then what will Google do? They'll probably loosen up, just so that, and it's a back and forth. So you're probably right. Machinima will be reborn in some kind of weird way.
Right. And it takes forever for these type of things of like, you would think it would be super easy to figure out how to get like old back catalogs re-aired and stuff like that.
Right.
Like Howard Stern is it's like it's been a battle for a long time of trying to get his old content onto this particular subscription service so that people can listen to old
old content, kind of like old episodes.
Yeah, content. Yeah, so it takes. I definitely think it will be out there, and I think there's enough people who have clips of Inside Gaming to entertain you for the time being.
Right. And as we're content creators, you really have to put a lot of thought on where you put your eggs. You know what I mean? Like in what basket you put your eggs, because a company can belly up, and if you haven't backed up your information correctly, your entire catalog can disappear. You know what I mean? And that's something you got to think about when you're doing content creation on any level. Do I have a place where all this is housed? Do I have my original cuts? Is it in my name? Do I own it? You know what I mean? Because for Machinima, I bet you there's a lot of content creators whose complete backlogs are now in jail. You know what I mean? Under lock and key until they figure it out, if they ever figure it out. You know what I mean? This company that bought Machinima may just say, better to start clean. Like I was talking about Max. Max, he had like 1,500 hours of video content that he had to curate himself and redistribute on YouTube himself without a manager.
You always have your own backup.
Exactly. Always have your own backups, ladies and gentlemen. Save you a lot of time and a lot of trouble. And if Machinima is the mighty phoenix that rises from these weird ashes, then more power to them. And if not, hey man, we'll see you later, Space Cowboy. What can you do?
Yeah.
Cool.
We've made it.
We did it. We came across the finish line and then fell and tore our ACL. And now the benediction. Sorry. I was listening to Todd Rundgren earlier. What you guys know about Todd Rundgren?
I don't know who you're talking about.
Learn it. If you're within the sound of my voice, firstly, watch The Virgin Suicides. That's a good movie. Secondly, go onto Spotify and type in "This is Todd Rundgren." Put on some incense and take the ride.
Or check out my social media at Trash Monk the Third. Like Trash Monk III. And let's shoot for, getting over the number 400 in all my social media. That means 400 Instagram followers, 400 on Facebook, 400 on Twitter. Let's try that.
Let's try that. That is on Twitter. That is on Facebook and on Instagram. He needs those 4s, ladies and gentlemen. We need those 4s. And that's Masters of the Nerdiverse. That's at MNerdiverse on Twitter. And you can also find us on Instagram, which is Masters of Nerdiverse Cast. And of course, you can find us on our own website, which is mastersnerdiversecast.com, where you can join our Patreon, listen to old episodes. I have them stored there. So you can listen to the absolutely first episode of the show, where it's literally me going through a weird kind of Jacob's Ladder transformation live on audio. So if you want to hear that nonsense, you can go listen to that. In fact, I may do it myself just to be nostalgic tonight. And if you like this content and would like to support us non-monetarily, that's totally fine. You can leave a like on Twitter and any of our social media outlets. You can comment and get in a conversation with us. I promise we don't bite hard.
Right.
And you can always subscribe to our YouTube. You can click that follow button on Twitter, and you can hit that notification bell on YouTube. I have, of course, been your host, Mike G.
And I've been your host, Winter Trashmonk III.
And we will always ask you to take that one step beyond.